Good morning, welcome back to another Gibbs adventure. And today I want to talk just really briefly about the anchor cables that I use. It's called a Sauvageau snap lock with a lock on the end. And 3/32 cable. Of course I got it all mixed up here. And I like them a little bit longer. So I usually ask to have them made 10 or 12 feet long. And the reason for that is because I want my catch to be in the water out of sight. So they come untreated. Okay, one end is a lock, so you just snap it around the tree, and the other end is a swivel, snap swivel. So what's important about this is that it has to go on the eye of the spring of a trap. So this trap's ready to go. I have it, I always wrap my cable around it like so and store it. And I just want to show you real quick. It has to go on the eye of the spring. See that, how I got it here? It doesn't go on the arm. It doesn't get wrapped around because it's a swivel action. So it has to be able to be in the eye here so that it can swivel, give you the swivel action that you want. And if you wrap it any other way, you can actually break these things sometimes. So if you put it on the spring and you start heaving on it, there's a piece of stainless steel in here that you can twist out of the way. I've probably caught in excess of 500 beaver under this system, and that's how I do it every time. And every time I make a catch, I check it to make sure the swivel is in the right spot again. So when I'm moving my traps, storing my traps, I always wrap them up with the trigger inside the springs, like so, and then I just wrap it. And then it's ready. I carry usually 2 sets at a time into the bush to set them. And then I store them in milk crates. So here's your typical milk crate. I always make sure the trigger is protected and the dog is inside. And I can put 5 in a crate like this. So I got 3 in there now. Sometimes the guys ask me if the swivels fit on the Belial traps or other size 330s. Yes, they do. But again, the critical thing is to get that swivel end, the snap end, in the eye of the trap. Nowhere else. It doesn't go on the spring arm. It doesn't get wrapped around and then snapped. It has to be snapped into the eye of the thing here. So basically all you do is you take it, and that's it. You make sure it's clear and it's on the eye of the spring. Okay, it's ready to go. So they come untreated. I use a water-based dye called Formula 1. You can use whatever you like, but the cables will rust if you don't take care of them. And just to show you how quickly the other end works, so this is the locking end of it. So when I take it, I just go around any size tree. Sometimes I just use, of course I got it around my ankle. I just use a tag halter sometime. And that's it. So it's anchored off. So you can pull as hard as you want in this. It's not going to come off. And what's nice about it, when I go to take it off, all I do is open it like so. Get my foot off it. Pull it out of the lock. And I'm good to go. So literally takes me 2 minutes to make a set. I always anchor low. I'm just doing it for demonstration purposes high, but usually I anchor it down here. You just run it through the eye, snap it off, and it's locked. Now you can use a smaller size tree, and sometimes I use 3 or 4 tag halters in a clump. It doesn't matter. The whole purpose is to get it locked off. And I like the length of the cable because when I make a catch, this will be right near my set. When I make the catch, the beaver's buried in the water. He struggles with the trap, he falls in the water, and your catch is out of sight, out of mind. People don't see it, and predators don't get on it. You might get the odd mink, maybe they'll chew it when it's in the water, but you're not going to run into bear problems or wolf problems or lynx problems eating it. But just again, very simple to take off, and you're done. Make sure it's past the little lip in here. And you check it every time you use it, and then you get the swivel action. And then on the other end is the lock. And basically it just fits in the hole, slides back in, and you just cinch it around whatever you're going to cinch it. And to take it off, you just get some slack cable, slide it out of the lock, and it's good to go. It saves on a ton of wire. Nothing more frustrating than having wire all over the place and then it gets twisted and it breaks, so it saves on a lot of wire. And like I said, when I store them, I'm throwing this one around here a little bit, but when I store them, I basically have it like so, and it goes in right in the box like so. I store them right in the box. And I can put five in a milk crate, so I can load up the back of my truck with traps, and they're all organized and ready to go. It's a very simple way to do it. So I quickly just want to show you how I make a set. And the whole idea of this set, where a lot of guys make a mistake, I want the beaver to get back in the water. I don't want my set to stake them on the land, because that's when you're going to run into damage for other animals. So I try to usually pick my sticks, have my trap ready. Okay, so first thing I do is pull out my cable. I've given it a couple of twists here. Okay, I pick an anchor point. Always make sure it's solid. Okay, get in the water here a little bit, make sure there's a bottom here and I don't go over my head. So my sticks are just basically going to hold the trap in place. I don't drive them in like a madman. I like my triggers together, and I like them on the bottom. Okay, I'm not going to take the safeties off, but normally I would set the safeties off. And then the other thing, after I do that, I have my lure, my stick. I run my stick in so it's in the place where I want it. Okay, make a hole. Do up my lure. Shove it back in the hole. And I like my lure to be almost on my trigger, so that when the animal gets caught, he comes in. By the time he puts his nose on the lure, he hits my trigger and he's caught. And then when it fires, the whole idea of this set now, which I'll do here, is that he gets caught. Okay, the safeties are on so it doesn't go off like it normally does. Big bang. Okay, and then he's going to struggle a little bit. Those sticks aren't going to hold him. And the beaver's gone like that. He's back out in the water. So when you come, your set's going to be empty. You just grab onto your anchor wire and you pull out your beaver. Okay, just for demonstration sets, I left the safeties on, which brings me to another good point. This is a 3rd generation trap. It's very powerful. It's a Sauvageau, but I don't care which make you want to use, that's your preference. But 3rd generation traps close tight. Don't dry fire these traps. I left the safeties on because I didn't want to dry fire it, because they're so powerful something's going to give. And the guys are saying, well, they bend the frame sometimes, or the steel, but they're powerful traps. Don't dry fire them with the springs open. And when I'm done, again, I just reach down. And I'm good to go. Okay, so when I'm done, there's no wire, there's no fuss, there's no mess. And most times I roll them up right in the bush like this, so I walk out with them. No wire, no big mess. You'd never even know I was here. Grab my beaver. I always have my trap setters with me because they're powerful traps, so you want to have trap setters to set them, especially if you have a catch and you're good to go. But anchor always on the eye spring, and when you lock it off, make sure any excess cable you just throw it in the water, because you want that animal to get caught and get back in the water. It'll prevent a lot of fur damage for you. So thanks for following along today. Hopefully this helps everybody. A lot of times people do demonstrations and they forget the one most important thing, which I almost did. Where do I get these things? Anybody that sells Sauvageau traps has access to the locks, the cable, and the pieces. You can buy them separately or you can buy them made up. I get a lot of my stuff from Mactrap in Quebec, but anybody that sells Sauvageau gear will have these anchors and these locks, and it's 3/32 cable, and it's actually a bolt that is hammered closed on them to make them set. And like I said, I treat every one. You can see they're treated like my traps, because otherwise the cable will start rusting on you. So I don't care what you use for treatment. If you want to use Formula 1 like I do, or if you want to use the speed dip, or any type of trap, material that's going to protect your trap is good to go. I don't think there's a perfect one. It's whatever works good for you. So I'm out here beaver trapping, and I really like this cable here, these anchor cables, because it gets the catch out of sight back in the water. Nobody even could tell really that I got anything going on here. I got a nice flat tail. And the beauty of this anchor system is it's very quick. I actually have it anchored around just a couple of sticks right now. And all right, I lost my stick. So it just clips on the end of the spring like this. It's the only way to do it. You get it in the eye of the spring here like this, and it's a swivel. And I got it on about 10 feet or 12 feet of cable, and I anchor off to the tag halter there. And I can set those cables up in like 2 minutes and be ready to go. I think this is my second or third beaver at this location here now. So I'm just doing the spring beaver run here. Make my own homemade lure for it. Nothing fancy, just caster and some oil sacks in it. We are good to go. Now, always make sure the cable is back in the water, and I try not to trip on it. And voila.
Wilbur, Oscar? Wilbur, Oscar? There he is. Oscar's 6, Wilbur's 3.